When you're looking at defending your structures and your settlements in Fallout 4, it's important to take a look at a couple of factors before you begin. The first is take a look at the resource layout of your settlement and make some decisions about exactly how to optimally defend that territory. Take a look at the natural resources around, the availability of dirt, because this is where you're going to be doing the majority of your farming. Any natural water supplies in the area, make a note of where they are, because they will become places where you may place, for example, industrial level water filters that will need to be defended, because they'll become hot targets for your enemies and your raiders as they close in. Also, take a look at any existing structures that are on the property when you first move. Some of them you will be able to incorporate into structures that you build. Other ones may have beds owned by settlers already, which means that it's going to create a whole bunch of challenges for you. You will not be able to destroy those beds and close that property off. So these are the considerations you're looking at when you're building a new settlement and when you're looking at defense as a priority. And defense will be a priority for you, because the moment people start moving into your territory and you assume control, you will start to be attacked. Now, the wall is one of the most persisting design paradigms when it comes to defense as a concept for a settlement. While it may look like a good idea in Fallout 4, you need to take on board that enemy behavior changes based on the settlement. You'll notice that, for example, in Sanctuary, there only really are 3 directions that raiders tend to come from and the majority of other attackers, but also super mutants can spawn in the middle of a city or a settlement. So if your turrets are all pointing outwards and you're relying on this as a primary source of defense, you're in trouble from the go-get. A well-placed wall creates a whole bunch of problems for your enemies. So if you do understand the directions and the methods that they use to attack, then a wall by all means is your best friend. What we're going to look at in this section of this video, however, is we're going to lay down some concepts of defense. We're going to create some principles that will allow us to create a response in your settlement for pretty much any situation as it arises. Now, until you fully understand the behavior of enemies and the way they attack each particular settlement, your best line of defense is going to be the human response. Make sure that your settlers are as armed and as well armored as they possibly can be. Their mobility, backed up with the best possible equipment you can find at whatever level you are in the game, gives a flexible level of response that allows them to meet pretty much any type of threat that may meet any of your settlements. And your threats will vary. It can be anything from a small pod of bloatflies through to gunners, synths, a super mutant raiding band, even deathclaws will attack. So don't skimp on defense, don't deprioritize it. A poor defense guarantees that once you start spreading out and your settlements become larger and larger, your game time is going to be consumed with going back and meeting threats as they hit every one of your settlements and also rebuilding them once the damage has been done. A well-placed guard post with a well-armed guard is going to be an excellent first response to any challenges or threats when they come to your settlements. Make sure that your guard posts are elevated, have a good line of sight. If possible, put a spotlight next to your guard posts so they will illuminate enemies from a good distance. And also put a siren next to your guard posts as well, which means that once a threat's been identified, your guards will set the siren off, and it gives a warning to all of your settlers wherever they may be, and they'll prepare and they will rush to meet the threat as it arrives. Now, the same principle of elevation applies to your turrets as well. Get them off the ground, get them at least a wall's height off the ground, because they cannot see through or shoot through natural cover. This way, when they identify threats, they can start unloading straight away, and it increases their response distance as well. Also, double up on turrets as well. 2 basic turrets are going to be more effective than just 1 medium or high level turret. Also, they'll be cheaper too. You'll get more bang for buck that way. Anything above a machine gun turret will require power, so make sure there's a supply of power going to your turrets, but at the same time to make sure that your power sources are not exposed to enemy fire as well, for obvious reason. If they go down, your turret network will collapse with them. Put the right turret on the job as well. If you're using shotgun turrets, put them close to gates or concentration points that the enemy has to pass through. They do not have good range, but if the enemy is close enough, they'll do tremendous damage. Missile launchers will do tremendous damage as well, but they will harm your people just as readily as they'll harm the enemy. Don't have them facing fields where people may be working or access points where people may be running to get into cover. Heavy laser turrets are excellent and do tremendous amounts of damage too, but again, you really want to overlap them with other, either of the same type of smaller, cheaper turrets, and that way you get more concentrated damage on enemies. Also, the heavy laser turrets consume tremendous amounts of power too, so it's a trade-off at the end of the day. You're looking for a balance in your defensive setup. Protect all your soft assets by keeping them out of harm's way. I put generators either in generator rooms or I put them up on roofs where they will simply be the last place that an enemy can get to. Intelligent enemies will plunder any supplies that you may have stored in crates or containers around your settlements as well. So again, keep these in places that are not easy to access. This also includes your power armor. I've had raiders walk in and step into power armor and use that and turn it onto your own settlements as well. Plus your settlers can jump into your power armor too. While it may sound like a good thing, if they get killed, once they hit the ground, that power armor can no longer be equipped. You've lost it and all the upgrades that may have gone into it. So take fusion cores out of your power armor if you're not using it. If it's not powered, it cannot be used. Do this by going into transfer mode, selecting the power core in the list and then hitting the action button, and this will move it from the power armor into your inventory. I found for myself building vertically offers a lot of defensive advantages over trying to spread out and create walled settlements. I can still control the amount of access points that I've got by limiting the amount of entrance points. I can move my softer assets higher up into the building or even up onto the roof where enemies can't reach them. I concentrate turrets and my guard posts so that they're facing areas where my settlers may be working, like fields, or where assets may be like water filters and so forth. By putting beds downstairs on the first level, if I find myself victim of a nighttime raid, once the sirens go off, the response time of my people is very fast. And that may be something you may consider as your own tool for increasing your level of defense in Fallout 4.